As the situation with the fake stigma stones calms down, we still think about the dream, the vision, and what happened to Kromede. So back to the library we go, to get Kromede's story straight. Kromede was born in Altgard, and from an early age she was known for her lovely features. Had that been all to her, she would perhaps not have risen to the heights she did. But in addition to physical beauty, Kromede also possessed a sharp wit and a strong mind. Even as a child, she amazed her tutors and dominated her peers academically. By the time she reached adulthood, Kromede had charmed everyone in Altgard, men and women alike. She soon learned to make full use of her inherent talents. Before long, her beauty could make others kneel at her feet, where her clever words ensnared them forever. She knew she was better than them all. No one was surprised when Kromede ascended. Kromede quickly stood out among her peers in the temple, and immediately after finishing her training, she was appointed as a shadow executor, the youngest ever at the time. Again, to no one's surprise, Kromede was a superb shadow executor. Her colleagues and superiors consistently praised her for her impeccable and reliable work. But one thing concerned them: her growing obsession with perfection. After being promoted to Shadow Judge, Kromede insisted that the most important cases be assigned to her. As it turned out, she was repeatedly taking similar types of cases, as if narrowing her focus. And after finally being promoted to an even higher position, Kromede set aside all pretense and began to clearly express an interest in cases of only one sort, those related to items legendary for their great power. The first person to suspect aberrant behavior was Nagelbart, a handsome and wise Archon of Dusk. It is not easy to pry into the internal affairs of the Shadow Court, but Nagelbart was persistent and devious. He continued to investigate, and in the end could come to only one conclusion: Kromede was manipulating her cases, using them somehow for selfish ends. Though he was certain of Kromede's guilt, he could not bring her to justice easily. She held the full confidence of the Shadow Court, and he could easily be ignored or arrested himself for making false charges, without rock-solid evidence. However, Nagelbart was as clever as Kromede, so he patiently approached the matter in a roundabout way. He began dropping hints about key cases to his network of informants, letting them spread rumors as they saw fit. Kromede soon realized that someone was onto her, but she firmly believed that her reputation in the Shadow Court would not be impaired by mere rumor. But she had no public reaction. Privately, things changed. Kromede began to express suspicion that one of her many admirers, seniors, colleagues, or subordinates was betraying her. So gradually she withdrew her love and charm from all of them, one at a time. Many hearts were broken. For Kromede, turning off her play of love was an easy thing, as she felt superior to her admirers. But hate quickly rose to fill the void where once love dwelt, and eventually one grew angry and turned on her. A minor clerk named Robston merely one among many for Kromede. He informed the Shadow Court of Kromede's actions, and with that, a full investigation into Kromede's corruption was launched. Led by the esteemed Judge Kaliga, they quickly discovered a secret warehouse rented from the Black Cloud traders. Within, they found all manners of ancient tomes, skill manuals and mana stones, along with many other valuables. Kromede had collected an incredible quantity of mystic relics. The power she could obtain from these items was unimaginable. Surprisingly, Kromede confessed everything on the first day of her trial. Through a wall of tears, she explained that she just wanted to be perfect, to be worthy of returning the admiration and love of all those around her. Beauty, wit, charm, everyone thought she was supreme in these areas. Only she thought, or knew, she fell short. To live up to their expectations, she needed ancient manuals and relics to be perfect, to become what they thought she already was. The corruption of a judge was deemed an unpardonable crime, and Kromede was sentenced to life imprisonment in a crystal cell. For her heartfelt confession, however, Nagelbart asked that Kromede be given a final request. She asked to serve her sentence in her birthplace, and this was granted. Nagelbart accompanied her to Altgard, the former Shadow Judge now in chains. However, they never arrived. The confession, the sentencing, the final request, it was all a sham, one final manipulation to sway the minds of her accusers. Neither Kromede nor Nagelbart have been seen since. And that's the end of the information we get from the books. The rest we have to fill out with our own experiences from the fake stigma and the fire temple. So after her escape, she lived in hiding for many years. We do not know what exactly happened in those years, but we do know that number 1, Nagelbart hasn't been ever since, and number 2, that Robston, the person that initially betrayed her, and the person responsible that everything turned out the way it did, has become her lover. While they still lived in hiding, the Shadow Judge Kaliga found out about their whereabouts and approached them. He blackmailed Kromede by forcing her to carry out certain missions for him, specifically to steal and collect rare relics and artifacts. And if she refused, he would either threaten to kill her lover Robston or threaten to report them to the higher-ups, which would lead to very harsh punishments for both Kromede and Robston. Over the years, the Shadow Judge Kaliga also became corrupt. Otherwise, he would have reported his findings right away and not blackmailed Kromede. Kromede initially agreed to carry out the missions, but the missions became more and more in numbers. There was no end in sight until Kromede finally had enough and told Kaliga, "I will only do this one last mission for you, and then we're done, okay?" And Kaliga agreed. He gave his word to let Robson and Kromede go after this mission and to not report their whereabouts. The mission was to get Naga's potion from Seal's Spear Legion. And even though Kromede felt bad about stealing from the Imperial Lords, she simply had to. But as she brought the potion to Kaliga, she was betrayed, deviously attacked from behind, and thrown into a cell. Full of anger because of the betrayal, she used a relic she found on her last mission, the Silver Blade Rotan, to escape her prison and fight her way through Kaliga's prison. On her way out of the prison, she found the dead body of Robston laying on the ground. He had been so brutally tortured that he was barely recognizable anymore. Even more anger arose in Kromede. Furiously, she fought her way through Kaliga's mansion and arrived in front of him. She overpowered him and desperately asked him why he had done this, even though she fulfilled his conditions and did complete all the missions he gave her. His answer was simply that the long life of a Deva can become quite tedious. Before he died, he reminded Kromede that the world will forever remember her as a corrupt judge, and not him. With everything lost, Kromede escaped from the mansion before the Archons arrived. The disillusioned Kromede wandered Asmodee in exile for years, until she eventually came to Morhaim. Although Kromede had lost everything, she still had one thing left: her original desire for legendary items. Lured by the rumors that the Sky Temple of Arcanis houses a powerful Davic weapon, she tried to take over the Fire Temple. This wasn't successful, and she sealed inside the temple along with its protector, a deva of flame named Agnita. Kromede overpowered her and sealed her inside an object, a chalice. Unable to leave, Kromede decided to make the Fire Temple and the many riches it held her new home. Although most of who ventured into the temple were killed, there was an exception: an Elyos deva named Delavis. We do not know the specifics, but in the end she seduced him and made him a watchdog over Agnita's chalice. She remained there for many more years, until we moved into the Fire Temple and killed her in a fierce battle. With that, Kromede finally found the end of her journey, and we found the end of this story. Here I would like to hear your opinions on Kromede. Do you think she was only evil and wanted the most powerful items for her own benefit? Or do you think there was more to her and she could have found a better end?